Right, hello everyone. Now, if you have a sister, a daughter, or if you just care about justice at all, this video, this case, will make you absolutely furious. 3 teenage boys, barely 13 and 14 at the time, convicted of multiple rapes against 2 innocent teenage girls. They used a knife, they filmed the attacks, they laughed during it, they cheered each other on, and then they shared the videos online. And they walked free. Not a single day in prison. Southampton Crown Court, Judge Nicholas Rowland looked them in the eyes and said, "None of you need to go to prison today." Why was he so obsessed with protecting their futures instead of delivering justice for these girls? And let's just dive into it. This case does make me furious. Because there was no justice. Just a dangerous message sent to young girls and boys. Fordingbridge, Hampshire. Just a quiet town where 2 girls' lives were shattered forever. The first attack took place on November 26, 2024. A 15-year-old girl who thinks she's going on a date with this boy that she'd been talking to on Snapchat. But instead, 2 boys show up. They then take her to a dark underpass near the River Avon and they rape her 3 times. The entire 90-minute ordeal was filmed on their phones. Later, that footage would spread and she would face even more abuse from the people who saw it. The second attack took place on January 17th, 2025. A 14-year-old girl gets separated from her friends. Now those same 2 boys and a third one threaten her with a knife. They make her leave her phone with an AirTag in a shop so she can't be tracked. At knife point, they take her to a nearby field where 2 of those boys go on to rape her, while the third one films it, laughs, cheers them on. The videos are shown in court. The girl lying on the floor motionless with her face in her hands. Forensic experts confirmed that her leggings had been cut with a sharp object. 11 rape-related convictions in total, filmed for laughs and bragging rights. These weren't confused kids. These weren't mistakes. These were calculated, violent attacks on vulnerable girls. Just think about it. These girls are children and they had the courage to go through a 5-week trial, relive all of it. For what? So the full trial took place recently in March 2026 at the Southampton Crown Court. There was overwhelming evidence, victim statements, forensic, phone records, their own videos taken by the boys. All 3 convicted. 2 now 15, 1 14. Can't be named because of legal reasons. So guilty on multiple rapes, indecent images, aiding and abetting. The prosecution proved it was premeditated. Knife threats, isolating the girls, filming it for humiliation. There was no doubt guilty. But then came the sentencing. And sentencing day, May 22nd, 2026. So very recently. I'm sure the boys' parents cry with relief, while the girls get to hear this. Judge Nicholas Rowland hands down youth rehabilitation orders. 3 years intense supervision for the 2 older boys, 18 months for the younger. No custody. They walk free. Now his words, and these quotes should shock you. He said, "I should avoid criminalizing these children unnecessarily and understand the effects of their behavior and support their reintegration into society. None of you need to go to prison today." He called them very young, not small adults. Blamed peer pressure, low intelligence and limited understanding of consent. He'd also go on to blame ADHD, anxiety and mild cognitive impairments. Even praised them for behaving so well during the trial restrictions, saying they'd done very well. He admitted that the filming made it more serious, but still prioritised their futures. He said, "I have to think how likely you are to do serious things again. I need to make sure you do not do serious things again in the future." So his way of doing that is rehabilitation orders. Yeah, that will really show them. Disgusting and beyond sketchy Nicholas Rowland. Why is the judge more focused on protecting and perfecting these boys, shielding them from criminalization, more than focusing on the destroyed lives of the victims? One girl said that the sentence hit like a rock straight in my face, and she described grieving the person she used to be, saying that person is completely gone. And the judge told her that nothing can undo that. He bent over backwards with excuses while the girls just got more trauma. This sends a clear message. Commit horrific crimes young enough and the system will worry more about your reintegration than real punishment. Thankfully, this didn't fly under the radar, and a lot of people have been calling this out as unduly lenient. And many public figures as well. Even Prime Minister Keir Starmer called it distressing and appalling. As a father and a politician, he announced the sentences are being referred to the Court of Appeal. Jess Phillips, former safeguarding minister, slammed it as unduly lenient, saying it sends a terrible message to victims who endure trials. Many echoed the fury. The Attorney General has very recently put it under review, so hopefully there will be actual justice at the end of this. This isn't just one angry video. The whole country is watching. I say this a lot, but this isn't just one case. This is a symptom of a rotten system that just bends over backwards to protect these young male offenders while leaving the female victims just in the dust. For the girls, imagine being a young girl today and hearing this story. You now know that even with video evidence, multiple counts of rape, a knife, that your attacker could very well get rehabilitation and supervision because the judge is so worried about their reintegration and apparently making sure they don't do it again. And because the judge is so worried about criminalizing them unnecessarily. Also, what does he mean by that? Unnecessarily? The gang rapists at knife point. How would you be criminalizing them unnecessarily? Why report? Why go through the trauma of a trial if the system is just going to treat your attackers like some misguided kids who made a mistake? It tells girls that their safety, that their bodies, that their futures are secondary, and that justice is optional. That predators will get second, third chances, while the victims will have to live with the nightmare forever. It erodes trust in everyone. Police, courts, judges, in society. It makes girls more vulnerable because the attackers feel emboldened. Girls learn early that speaking up might mean reliving the horror in a trial, only for the court to prioritize your attacker's future, to prioritize their low intelligence and peer pressure over your own pain. It fosters fear and silence, and a generation of girls who feel unprotected and disposable. And for the boys out there, especially troubled ones, what message does this send? That you can commit one of the most heinous violations of another human and face no real punishment. No jail, just a don't do that again. And some supervision while we focus on your reintegration. This normalizes violence and entitlement. It tells boys that a girl's consent is negotiable, that group behaviour excuses individual evil, and that filming your crimes is what? Just boys being boys? It teaches them that the system will make excuses. ADHD, youth, whatever it is. So why not push the boundaries? This creates more predators who think that serious sexual violence has no real cost. This is not acceptable, not in any civilized society. We protect the innocent first, not the predator's reintegration. Ages 13 to 15 is old enough to understand that rape is wrong. Ages 30 to 15, it's old enough to understand consent. The law needs to reflect that for serious crimes like this. Youth justice should rehabilitate minor offences, not gang rape. Demand change. Sign petitions, email your MP, share videos like this, tag officials, support victim groups. There's a change.org petition calling to investigate Judge Nicholas Rowland and to introduce a judicial accountability frameworks now. So the purpose is to push for a formal review of his handling of this case and similar cases involving sexual violence, and where warranted, his removal from the bench. Wouldn't that be wonderful? And to ensure that judges prioritise the victims over shielding the offenders. I've signed the petition, you should too. I'll put it on screen, and if I can figure out how, I will put the link in the description as well. Comment below. What do you think should happen to the judge and the boys? I know what I would like to happen, but I think my video would get taken down if I said. The Attorney General has just put it in for a review, so there will be an update at some point. Hopefully, a positive one. So look out for that. I'm going to keep a close eye on this case. Like if you want, subscribe if you want, share, that's the most important bit, getting this story out there and getting that petition out there for people to sign. So yeah, I will see you in the next one. Ta-ta!